Hello everyone, this is Dee. I am back with another awesome video. I have been, since that last video, I've been stewing on the story of Inanna. Out of the blue, the thought of the story of Inanna came to my mind. So I always hear about Inanna, went to the underworld and come back, blah blah blah. But I never actually read the story for myself. And I have always, in some way, kind of like get it. I thought it was just a regular death and rebirth, but somehow I was guided to literally go ahead and read the story to myself, and it blew my mind. So a week I've been stewing on this a week, and I actually printed out and I have some notes all over the paper of the things that came to me, and I literally had to let the story unfold for me, speak to me. And there's so many layers to this little short story. It's like 12 pages, and I felt like so much more came up. So the story of Inanna, for those of you who are not familiar, and I encourage you to actually go read it. It's very short, and let it speak to you and see what it's telling you. So the story of Inanna is, she is the queen of the of heaven, and she has a sister, Irishkagel, I'm gonna butcher those names, who is the queen of the underworld. So already when I was reading the story, I could see bloodline play out because they're sisters supposedly. One, and then also I could also see the dynamic as above and below, as above so below. So so apparently Inanna thought it was a great idea for her to go to the underworld because Erishkigal's husband had died. So why would she want to do that? I don't know. Maybe she just wanted to go. The way the story unfolds, I feel like it was just curiosity, because when the gatekeeper went and told Erishkigal that Inanna was at the gates trying to enter. Of course, there's more to the story that I cannot get into because it will make it a very long video. Erishkigal's reaction was pretty much shock and anger, because I don't think Inanna was invited to the underworld. Okay, it's like, why the heck would she come there? And so bottom line is, the sister Erishkigal, she devised a plan that would have Inanna release all the 7 me's. That's what they call the stories, the powers, all the 7 powers that she has at each gate. So when she came in front of her, she had her come bow low and on her knees pretty much. So she was stripped, Inanna was stripped of all her powers, and judgment was cast upon her. Whatever judgment was, I don't know, it didn't explain. The point is, she's queen of Erishkigal is queen of the underworld, and she just cast judgment that you were punished. And the story says that she was struck, she was beat, and then she was made a corpse. So pretty much she got humiliated, stripped of her power, beaten to death, betrayed by sister, which is bloodline, which is whatever. See, it has you, or betrayed by darkness, because her sister is a queen of the underworld. Now the story gets pretty interesting, because Inanna knew what she was getting into, because before she went to the underworld, where she was uninvited or not invited to come, she had left instruction with a servant, her most trusted servants, and to go to these different temples, different gods, different people with power who could bring her back. So she had plan A, plan B, plan C, and contingency plans just in case. And she just knew that she was coming back no matter what, because she had set up the plan and the right people who could hopefully get her out. So 3 days passed and she didn't come up. So the servant went to all the temples and all the gods and trying to get help to get her back, as she was instructed. And she finally made it to Enki, which is god of wisdom, who has wisdom of the food of life and the water of life. And Enki fashioned 2 creatures, Galator and whatever their name is, 2 creatures that were able to go undetected, because they morph into flies to go to the underworld. So when they got to the underworld, Enki, the god of wisdom, gave the two creatures instruction to mirror to Erishkigal whatever she was saying. So apparently, after Erishkigal killed Inanna, she became in a state of it's almost like she was giving birth. She was in labor pretty much. It's not, they never said she was pregnant, but someone died. So that could have been seen as grief, but they say it was as if she was about to give birth. So then you see the dynamic of death and rebirth and that same. So Inanna has died and the sister is in labor pretty much. So the instruction to the creatures were whatever she says, mirror back to her. So when Erishkigal was like, oh my body, oh my womb, oh my liver, oh my heart, in pain, so the creatures are to repeat the same thing in mirroring back to her. That's another layer. You see the mirroring of whatever someone's feeling. So pretty much they say that when she was in that painful state, her breast was uncovered, she was being unattended to. So she was, as the queen of the darkness, she does not go through her pain witness. She is unwitnessed. And the only way she could see the pain that she's in or the pain that she's caused is for that same pain to mirror back to her. Anyway, that's what I got from the story. That's what the story spoke to me. Because like I said, I've been stewing on this for a week, you guys. And I've been letting it come to me. Anyway, so the queen was happy that somebody finally mirrored to her what she was experiencing, what she was feeling. She wanted to give the two creatures a gift. So when she wanted to give them whatever else they wanted to give her, the creatures, they were like, no, we don't need anything else. Why don't you just hand over this corpse that you have hanging in the palace, because that's Inanna's body. So the queen was of the underworld, Erishkigal, was like, okay, you can have this corpse. You know how Inanna is treated when you strip of power. You're a corpse. You're dead. You're like nothing, reduced to nothing. So the two creatures pour in the water of life and the food of life into Inanna, and Inanna was reborn. So, so story goes on. Truly, really and truly, she couldn't just leave. She has to actually replace herself with someone else. So she was allowed to go back, and she had, I guess, demons of the underworld who went with her back on the surface. So she had to find somebody to take that sacrifice seat, who was worthy of death. And the word that they use when Inanna found her husband not be worthy, because he was not grieving for her, and he was just having a whole good old fun while she was busy dying. And he said, yeah, this dude gotta go down, down to the underworld. And he tried to escape by turning into a snake. That's another thing that I can't even get into, because the video will be too long. But eventually the underworld got caught up with him, and he was taken down. That was the gist of it, but there's so much more to it. You have to actually go and read the story. The stuff that I got from this. Inanna was not a victim to what she suffered in the underworld, because she went there uninvited. And she knew what she was getting into, because she had left instruction of way to get her back from dying, from death. She knew she was going to die. But she also knew, as queen of the heavens, she was somehow limited to different knowledge that she didn't have access to, right? She didn't have access to her darker self. So she had to retrieve that. In my mind, of course, I could be wrong, but my interpretation of the story is the way the story has been speaking to me. It's like she had to experience the darkness so she could actually acquire that wisdom. She had to go to the other world, the underworld, right? Because in the heaven where everything is light and bright, she has only knowledge of that. So she had to go down in the underworld to die, to experience pain, to experience betrayal of the sister, of the bloodline, of what is similar, because the sister is also a queen. She is not depicted as lesser than, she is equally powerful. But in the story, it's almost like she went there knowing that she was going to be betrayed, she was going to be humiliated, but she also knows she was going to conquer. Wow. And she had plans set in motion to know that she's going to be retrieved, and she was not going to stay there. She already knew she was going to be coming back because she knew her power. So even though she was stripped from her crown, she was stripped from her beads, she was stripped from her breastplate, she was stripped of her soul, she knew that it was not the end. She was just collecting her power. And assuming in the mirror effect they were showing is the darkness reflecting for Erishka girl, in terms of darkness, which is the dark sister, let's put it that way for easy. Okay, the dark sister, she was doing this from anger, she was doing this from jealousy, because when the servant went to the other gods and asking for help, they say Inanna knew her sister craved the great above, and Inanna has often craved the great below. So none of them were satisfied with their position. So the Queen of Heaven still felt like she was lacking the dark. And the Queen of Darkness still knew that she was lacking the light. Oh my God. There's so many ways to dissect this, but so I'm making this video to ask you this. In what way? Go read it. Your assignment for the day. Go read the story of Inanna. Let it speak to you and ask yourself, in what way that you have put yourself in situation that you know damn well what you're getting yourself into, but you went at it willingly because you just know part of yourself called for that experience. Part of yourself needed that experience to retrieve power. In what ways in your life have you seen sort of the story of Inanna being displayed? The story of a sister, a bloodline, of friendship, women in general. Because this is two women. Two women. Right? And funny enough, so Inanna went there under the guise of going to pay respect to Erishka girl's husband who's died. Inanna had a husband, but then at the end of the day, he was not worthy, and he was sent instead of her because he was not worthy. But that's another layer, where you have to know yourself. You have to retrieve power from within, and you have to be first worthy of it, because she's not doing anything she didn't do herself. She went down to the underworld herself willingly, and the other person, she had to give a sacrifice to whoever is unworthy. So who in your life right now is unworthy of you? What ways in your life you feel like this dynamic of the Inanna story, where you had to be stripped of your power and then die, metaphorically, die humiliated, distraught, betrayed, as a way of regaining power? And why did you have to be so hard? Why didn't you just call on that power without it to have pain associated with it? Why did it have to be painful? Why do you think there had to be death? What in you needed that story? Why in you needed that experience, this gruesome pain experience? Anyway, those were the things I've been pondering for a week. I've been on the road, you guys, with all these extra layers. But Pluto is in my 12th house now, because my ascendant is Pisces, and Pluto officially is in Aquarius, so that has entered my 12th house. So all this you know, it's like the light is being shined in the attic, the attic of the house. Okay, so up there, wherever there were all these cobwebs and stuff like that, light it's being shine on that. So the psyche, all fears, old wounds, or pain, light is being shined on on them to be healed. So yeah, that's what I've been pondering. So if you can handle answering those questions with honesty, to do a little soul searching, to go a little deeper within yourself and see how that story resonate with you, I'm asking you to go read it. It's 12 pages. You could read it in literally 10 minutes. But oh my God, let it speak to you. Don't go read the interpretations, because there's many interpretations online. Read the story yourself and let it reveal itself. So there's so much gem in here. If you're a woman watching this, go read the story. It will change your worldview. It will change the way you see yourself. It's the way you see your relationship with women. It will change you. Anyway, that's what I got today. See you next time.